I'm Kaitlyn Rhyne. I'm from Manassas, Virginia, and I'm applying for RA.
Hi, I'm Caleb Scott, and I am applying for RA in freshman housing.
I'm Ashley Rothballer, and I'm applying for SLA for freshmen.
I'm Max Sommers from Colorado Springs. My desired position is freshman SLA.
My name is Rachel Sun. I'm from Fullerton, California, and I am applying for Levernick RA.
Okay, let's see these questions.
Are you watching the time?
Quickly review the following list of personal strengths. As a group, choose 4 strengths that would make up the perfect RA and SLA candidate. Discuss as a group to explain why. Okay, there's achiever, which is people who are especially talented in the achiever theme, have a great deal of stamina and work hard. They take great satisfaction from being busy and productive. The activator are people who are especially talented and can make things happen by turning thoughts into action. They are often impatient. People who are especially talented in the adaptability theme prefer to go with the flow. They tend to be now people who take things as they come and discover the future one day at a time. People who are especially talented in the empathy theme can sense the feelings of other people by imagining themselves in others' lives or other situations. People who are especially talented in the ideation theme are fascinated by ideas. They are able to find connections between seemingly disparate phenomena. People who are especially talented in the responsibility theme take psychological ownership of what they say they will do. They are committed to stable values such as honesty and loyalty. People who are especially talented in the strategic theme create alternative ways to proceed. Faced with any given scenario, they can quickly spot the relevant patterns and issues. Oh, woo! People who are especially talented in the woo theme love the challenge of meeting new people and winning them over. They derive satisfaction from breaking the ice and making a connection with another person. Okay, 4 strengths that would make up a perfect RA and SLA candidate. Okay, well, we're supposed to discuss this as a group.
I like woo.
What?
I think that's pretty important. I mean, because like if you're an RA or an SLA, the first challenge of the year would be like meeting everyone and like getting to know them.
Because it's such a sensitive point in like a freshman, especially in their lives, to have to leave home and they're scared, they're a little intimidated by what might be happening. And so as an RA or SLA, I think it's really cool to be able to break the ice with them and open up that kind of connection, woo them.
Do you like adaptability?
I do like adaptability.
I like adaptability. I think that's very important.
Do you have I like adaptability, especially because in a house of 50-something residents, you get a combination of personality types. And at some point, you're going to find someone that's like unorthodox per se. And you're going to have to, you can't plan a relationship and you can't plan a perfect house. And at some point, you're going to have to be adaptable and flexible because what you want is not necessarily what everyone else wants. But, you got to work together to achieve a common goal.
Yeah.
Community.
I think empathy is also probably pretty important.
Yeah, because these freshmen are going to be, or whoever you have as your group is just going to be looking for someone who they can go to get support from or get help from, advice from. And if you can't put yourself in their position and see the way that they're seeing and relate to them on a level, then they aren't going to feel be comfortable going to you, or they're not going to feel like you're actually helping them. So I think it's important to be able to relate to them on that level.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for me the 3 biggest is the empathy, adaptability, and then responsibility. We touched on the first 2, but responsibility is obviously going to be a very crucial part of a role of an RA.
Yeah.
And that's what the woo aspect really attracts me, because they love getting to know people, but on a higher level, you are responsible for people, and at some point you're going to have to put the good of the house above the good of an individual. So the winning people over comment scares me. I think it's important to be welcoming and break the ice, but at some point you're going to have to say no to your peers, your friends, and will that goal of creating
And especially
can you say no?
in terms of responsibility, you can have all the best intentions in the world and even have good ideas, but if you're not gonna actually be responsible enough to do them and like have the discipline to, you know, to put time into like planning things out for any HRL events or just stuff like that, if you're not gonna actually do it and be responsible enough to do it, then everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like definitely when I was a freshman, my RAs and SLA were super involved with our, you know, our students in the house, and it made everything so much easier to be able to get involved with the Pepperdine community and like learn people's interests and hobbies and like what they like to do and bond with them in that way, because otherwise, you know, if things weren't facilitated through the like events that the RAs and SLA organized, we wouldn't have clicked as easily with all the other people in the house, and it just made things so much better.
Since this is short, moving on.
Yeah.
Question 2. As a group, discuss what you believe is the greatest need for the area that you wish to serve. Discuss a way that you can meet these needs through programming.
Well, I'd say maybe the greatest need for like an RA figure, or like, yeah, for the RA position in the house, I guess, is like just having like a counselor and a friend for the students to be able to like look to. And I mean, that's super important for an SLA too. I'd say that's probably the main reason that we have all of these figures in dorms, as well as being like responsible for, you know, the daily processes of the house in which they serve. It's just so important for people to be able to have someone to trust and to talk to when they're having problems in whatever way.
Yeah, I think it's like the biggest responsibility for someone or RASLA is just showing that you are around.
Yeah.
If you're always stuck in your room and your residents aren't going to be able to see you, they're not going to feel comfortable going into your, like, knocking on your door and like talking to them. So like making yourself go out there, like even if it's out of your comfort zone, it's just something that like it's your responsibility to do that. And I think that's one area that's really important for everyone, SLAs and RAs alike.
Yeah, and I think just like encouragement, and just like you guys said, like just being there for the students, and like especially like SLA, particularly like spiritual encouragement, because I know my RA or my SLA last year was just so on fire for God, and like would always be asking us like, hey, how are you doing in your walk? Like, what can I pray for you for? Like, how are you doing spiritually? And that was just so encouraging for me, because I think spiritual growth is one of the main things that like I've loved about Pepperdine, and I know my SLA was very influential in that. And so I think just having that constant encouragement and that constant like knowing that someone cares about and wants to help you grow is really important.
So
Okay, for me, I think the greatest need in the area which I wish to serve is a sense of connectedness, and not only connectedness, but interconnectedness within a house and as a community. Because as freshmen, they come in and they don't know anyone, and as an SLA, I just think you need to be able to go out and break the barriers, as well as just like, yeah, I mean, at Pepperdine we have so many cool people here that it's so easy to compare yourself to others and look at people in other social groups besides your own and feel like you're not connected, or you're connected to the wrong people. And just like as an HRL staff member, I think for me, the biggest need is to go out to each resident, to seek them out individually, and establish a sense of connectivity. So they now have a home base at Pepperdine while they're like leaving their family in their home. So you don't feel alone.
So important.
Yeah. In short, I really want to work with freshmen. I think it's awesome because they're in a very crucial stage in their life where they can go a lot of different directions. As an RA, I would be in a position to be able to come alongside them, both spiritually and just as a friend. I think that is probably the most important role, right next to being able to take care of the house and uphold the responsibilities of the house, but really emphasizing the friendships and really building up the freshmen and giving them like the encouragement, and also showing them how faith can play in their lives as a freshman in college.
For sure. All right, question 3. Your RD comes to you and says that they have a report of a resident who has been struggling with depression. Your RD asks you as the RA/SLA to reach out and connect with that resident. How would you do this if you do not have a close relationship with this resident?
For me, the biggest thing when connecting people is always relating with them. So if I don't already connect well with them, I'm gonna bring something up that we have in relation. And for me is that I do struggle with depression, and just for them to know that they're not alone in this is huge. And for someone that encountered a lot of problems at Pepperdine my freshman year, the biggest thing you have to do there is just to be present with someone when it's inconvenient and just listen. And like honestly, beyond that, like I look at my experience, I don't know that there's much else I could have done, but I know that just being present with someone, like Jesus calls us to cry with people and weep with people. He also calls us to rejoice with people. But sometimes there's nothing you can do but weep with someone else, and that's all I could do. But I mean, I would be there.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely in high school, I went through some periods where I was getting a little depressed. I mean, like, just being so busy and overwhelmed by just like things that life and high school were throwing at me. Like, it was so valuable to have loyal friends who would just ask me out to go do an activity, like go have fun, and then just being able to open up that passageway with freshmen by, you know, asking them out to coffee, or just like sitting down with them and being like, hey, like,
small little intentional encounters.
yeah, exactly, like tell me about yourself, like what do you like to do and stuff like that. And then like little by little, I think that relationship could build up, and just if you deliberately foster it and show them that you care about them, it'll make such a difference. And then, you know, you could open up that means of communication, and just it all goes uphill from there, I think.
I think everyone does go through some sort of dark time where you're under depression, even if it's like a slight depression, everyone goes through that. So like for me, it happened to me like last year, possibly like during maybe like the first few weeks of Pepperdine, because you're like away from home, away from your friends, and it's just like having someone just come up to you and talk to you. Like my roommate would come and talk to me, and just like, even if just the presence of someone always makes someone better. Like being alone will make you more depressed. So having someone, like, since we know that we will go talk to this person, and just like, even if we don't say anything, just being in the presence is like really nice. And for me, since I'm applying for RA for Lovernick, it's more of the students who come back from like abroad, and it's just like sometimes like the experiences abroad were so great, but coming back is just like so dull, and they're like, oh, what is my life now? And that may be some sort of depression. Like I can relate because I've been abroad, and I can also like a lot of that.
Just to take a genuine interest and delight in the person God made them to be, and encourage them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I know for me, if someone's like specifically seeks me out and like specifically, I don't know, even just like a short comment or like a little conversation, the fact that I was specifically sought out just makes me feel so much better. So, if you know that there's someone that like is struggling in any way at all, like just taking the time to let them know that they are specifically cared for, and just like that they are not like these guys said, like they're not alone.
Just keep talking.
Okay. They're not alone, and that there is someone who cares about them. So I think that's the most important thing, just to like make sure that they know how loved they are.
I love what all these people said. I mean, I've never personally struggled with depression. I've seen a lot of my friends go through it. Basically what they've said, just key items: listening, being with people, showing them that you care about them and that you love them, being able to bring a spiritual aspect into it, show them their worth in Jesus. I think Mac was talking about that. I think that's crucial, and I mean, yeah, just being with them, really.
I think that like a lot of times when people are left to their thoughts, that's when things can get problematic. So, are we good?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say, I think an important trait is the activator trait, because you set a precedent for the rest of the year.
Did we ever set more things?
You gotta get people out there,
4 things that we want.
like to find out.
Did we ever set 4 things?
No.
So we should.
Oh, yeah,
We should end the video with like.
Yeah.
The 4 treats.
The 4 things.
Yeah.
So what do we say? Responsibility.
Responsibility, empathy, woo, and
Empathy, adaptability.
But that's what it is. Okay, so let's read it out.
Empathy empathy, adaptability, responsibility,
And
was it
woo.
woo?
Woo.
And woo.
Yeah.